One of the things that content creators, especially new ones, struggle with the most is staying consistent with posting videos. And I've talked about this a lot on my channel. It's something that I've had a really hard time with as well. And in this video, I wanted to talk about how you can take really simple, actionable steps to remove barriers and distractions that are keeping you from filming and posting content on YouTube. And not necessarily just for YouTube, these tips can be used for any content that you're trying to post on any platform. I think the key, at least for me personally, is to make the process as simple as you can so that it doesn't feel like this huge, overwhelming chore every time you approach creating a new video. And so with that in mind, with the overarching theme of simplicity in mind, the first thing that has helped me a lot personally is just understanding that done is much, much better and more important than perfect. I've taken note of a lot of the creators that I enjoy watching, and honestly, for me, it's enough to just hear them chat for 10-15 minutes about a topic that I find interesting. And I don't need them to have a bunch of edits like every few minutes. I don't need to have things popping up on the screen all the time. I don't need them to have all the details on the thing that they're talking about in that one video. I just need something interesting, and all that extra fluff that can be really fun to add sometimes is not needed for every single video. I know for myself, when I was starting out, there were a lot of topics that, like, when I knew I wanted to talk about a particular thing, I thought, okay, I have to research this completely and entirely, and in this video, I have to cover the A to Z on this topic. I have to have all the answers, all the information, and it has to all be presented in one video if I want to talk about this topic. But that's not necessarily true. I think it's actually better to give a little bit of information on that topic and spread it out across multiple videos rather than trying to fit everything into one video because you feel like that is gonna be like the best way to create that video. Overall, I think for the most part, even as I've been observing my own content watching habits, I think viewers respond a lot better to content that comes out on a consistent basis rather than irregular, highly produced content. I'm reminded of this a lot right now, especially because a lot of the creators that I love to watch are doing Vlogmas, which is where they are posting a video a day. I believe it's a video a day from December 1st through the December 25th. And it's just been so much fun to have new content to watch all the time. I've been really enjoying that. And of course, like, when you're posting a video a day, you're not gonna have a ton of edits in each of those videos, and they're not all gonna be super long with a ton of information in each video, but it's just fun to have new content. So I think that that's a really big testament to the power of consistency over perfection. Another thing that I found to be really helpful for me is to keep a running list of video ideas in each niche category that I talk about on my channel. I keep my list in a Google Doc, but this can also be in a journal. It can be in the Notes app on your phone. But basically the idea is that every time you come up with an idea for a topic that you want to talk about, you write it down right away so that when you go to script a new video, you can go to this ideas bank that you've created for yourself and pull from it rather than trying to come up with a new idea each time that you need to film. A lot of the times we get great ideas when we're out on a walk or we're driving or we're in the shower, and then when it comes time to actually like script and film, we are finding that our minds are completely blank. So for me, having that list of ideas that I can always go back to and add to as I have more ideas has been really helpful. Personally, my categories are content creation, personal development / motivational videos, and lifestyle / vlogs. And when I've created a video on a topic, like when I've scratched something off the list, I don't delete it, I just highlight it blue so that I know what I've already talked about and what I haven't talked about yet. Another thing that I really like to do that kind of ties in with this is when I'm scrolling through Instagram Reels or scrolling on TikTok, I like to save videos that pertain to one of my niches, and I'll label it something like video ideas or something like that, because you can create, I know you can create folders on Instagram. I think on TikTok you can only just save videos, you can't create separate folders. But on Instagram, I have a folder with a bunch of videos that are related in some way to the topics that I cover on my channel. And it's really awesome to also go into that folder. It's also like an ideas bank. And as I'm scrolling through, I come across a lot of different thoughts that other creators have shared that I really resonated with, and it helps me to then take that thought or idea and flesh it out into a video that I can then film for my channel. Like just recently, I created a video on a post that I saw on Instagram about not wasting your day if you've had a setback. And that came from just a graphic that I saw on Instagram that really just spoke to me, and I was able to take that and expand on it a lot more to create a video. But the initial idea came from this Instagram post. So just constantly being on the lookout for ideas and saving them in a way that you can then go back and look through them is awesome, because you're not starting from scratch each time. To go off of that a little bit more, I think another great strategy to help you post more videos in your niche category or categories is to consume other people's content with intention. So in order to stay super plugged into whatever your niche is, you, I think, need to be consuming that type of content from other creators on a semi-regular basis. Now, you do have to be careful with this, because you don't want to end up just repeating what other people are saying and not having a voice of your own. You do want to be unique and have something that makes your channel stand out amongst other channels. But I also just think that it's important to watch videos that are related to what you want to talk about, so that you are constantly keeping your finger on the pulse of what is relevant in the niche that you are in. Count the amount of times I say the word niche in this video. It's getting up there. And as you're doing this, as you're watching videos that pertain to what you want to talk about, taking notes, whether that's just mentally or ideally like physically taking notes on certain maybe filming techniques that those creators are using, like angles that they're filming at, B-roll footage that they use, ideas that they talk about, just tidbits here and there of like things that they do in their content that you think is really cool. Having a list of those ideas is really helpful too, because it allows you to grow in your skills with filming and editing and all those different things. Basically, you want to become an expert in your field when it comes to topics that you want to create videos about. If you're looking to make a channel on personal development, but you're constantly consuming content that is in the category of comedy or movie commentary, that's not going to be super helpful to you when you go to sit down to create your own videos. So I think having that balance where you're watching stuff outside of your niche, of course, watching all the different things that you enjoy, but then also setting aside like separate enrichment time to watch videos that are specifically related to what you want to talk about will help you really grow as a creator and create more videos, because the ideas that you want to talk about are constantly on your mind. Another thing that's so important and so helpful when it comes to removing barriers to filming content is to have a designated space and easy to use filming equipment when it's time for you to sit down and actually film a video. If you have an office or a YouTube studio like I do, that's awesome, but it's not necessary, and I didn't have this space when I was first creating my videos. I mainly filmed in my living room, and that's totally fine. As long as you have a space and like a specific camera angle that you always film at, so that you're not thinking, okay, where am I gonna film this week each time? That is really helpful, because then you know exactly where you need to go and the angle and direction that you need to film at every time you go to sit down to make a video. You also want to make sure that your filming equipment is easy for you to use and it's not super overly complicated. If you do have a space where you can constantly have your filming equipment set up, that I find has been ideal for me. So like right here in my studio, I always have my ring light and my tripod set up. I have like tape on the floor that marks the exact position that the ring light needs to and the tripod needs to be in, so that I'm not constantly adjusting my angle every time I go to film. I also always keep a charged camera battery in here, and I keep my microphone in here at all times. Sometimes I take my camera out because I'm vlogging or just using it to take pictures or whatever the case may be. So the camera isn't always in here, but everything else, as well as like my candle over here, everything else is always set up so that when I come down here, there's not a ton of setup that I have to do. I just can press record and film my video. And I also want to stress that you don't need to have an elaborate setup, like an elaborate background or a ton of equipment. You can literally just film in a corner of your living room or your bedroom. You don't even have to have a ton of stuff behind you or anything. Just as long as it's a nice corner with good sound, like there's not a lot of noise, and it has good light, that's perfect. And as far as equipment goes, you can honestly just film on your phone. Having a little tripod to put it on makes it easier, but that's really all you need. If you want to take things up a notch, you can buy a lapel microphone to start. That's what I started with before I bought like my fancy microphone, and they're pretty affordable. Tripods and ring lights on Amazon can also be pretty affordable. There's a lot of options out there, so you don't need to go all out with a bunch of fancy equipment. Just something affordable and simple and very easy to use, so that you're not feeling like there's all these barriers when it comes to actually executing the filming process. Another thing that I find to be really helpful is to designate a day for scripting, a day for filming, and a day for editing. The key is to make these tasks a part of your non-negotiable work schedule. I know that it can be really tempting with a job like this, because it really can turn into a job. It can be tempting to slack off, which is certainly something that I've fallen into, because you don't have a boss over you that's like making sure that you're clocking in and clocking out at the same time each day. So you have to be your boss in that sense, where you have to create a almost rigid schedule that you stick to no matter what. So for me, if I'm aiming to post a video a week, my plan can be as follows. On Sunday, I spend 1 to 2 hours scripting my video. On Monday or Tuesday, I spend some time filming it. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, I spend time editing. And with that schedule, my video should be ready to go up by Friday. But you don't have to have a schedule just like this if you're not looking to post once a week. If all you can swing is a video a month, that's fine. Just as long as you know what your scripting, filming, and editing days are each month and you can stick to that, that's what's most important. Breaking up the tasks by day is helpful because it makes it seem less overwhelming, because you have this like step-by-step process that you're going through. You don't have to do it all in 1 to 2 days. I know a lot of creators do thrive on content calendars and batch filming, where they sit down and they film multiple videos at the same time. For me personally, I do find that to be a little bit overwhelming. I think for me, filming is probably the most overwhelming part of the process. So if I'm filming like for hours in a day, that is a big deterrent for me. So I personally just like to film one video at a time, but really you have to just see what works for you and stick to it. Another strategy to help you post more videos is when you're scripting, stick to a base template every time. So think back to being in school and writing essays. Teachers would often say you have to have an intro, a body that consists of a few paragraphs, and a conclusion. And that's basically kind of the skeleton of each essay that you write. I find that approaching videos in that same way when I'm going to write out my notes is really helpful, because I know exactly the flow that my videos need to follow. So for me, I always start my Google Doc off for each video with my title idea, my thumbnail idea, my hook/intro, the body, which is usually like a bullet list of the different things that I want to talk about, and a short conclusion. So each time I go to write down my notes for a video, I have those sections already like pre-written out. So all I have to do is fill out each section. Maybe your base template will look a little bit different from mine depending on the type of content that you create, but the point is to have one so that you can create a very streamlined workflow over time. Sticking to the same basic order of operations each time will help eliminate unnecessary or extra decision making. No matter what kind of template you decide on though, I would highly recommend starting out knowing what you want your title and thumbnail to be, because I think that helps you decide whether or not a topic is worth filming a video on. If you know, like, okay, I can create a click-worthy title and thumbnail for this topic, then it's worth it to spend the time to script the video and then subsequently film the video. But if you can't create an interesting title and thumbnail out of it, then maybe you need to switch to a different video topic. Finally, I would highly recommend filming B-roll footage as you're doing your regular tasks. An easy way to really elevate your videos when you're editing without having too much effort attached to it is to have B-roll footage with you in it that is relevant to whatever you're talking about. Stock photos and videos are really great too, and I do like to use those, but I think having B-roll footage of you that you have filmed is even better. And you don't have to film new B-roll each time you go to create a video, similarly to having a constant list of video topic ideas that you go to pull from. It's awesome to have a folder of B-roll footage, a library of B-roll footage, if you will, to pull from whenever you are sitting down to edit a video. This doesn't have to be super complicated. Of course, you need to think about what kind of footage is relevant to the types of videos that you are creating. But I found for myself, just filming myself as I'm doing my regular tasks, working on my laptop, cooking, cleaning, taking a walk, whatever it is that I'm doing, I find that that footage almost always comes in handy when I'm going to edit a video. Ultimately, there is no one-size-fits-all magic solution that is going to guarantee that you post more videos. I think it does, in a lot of ways, come down to having the discipline to do what you say you're gonna do. But there are a lot of different ways to streamline the process, to make it easier, to remove barriers and distractions, and to just create a system that works really well for you and your particular lifestyle. I honestly just really want to encourage you not to overthink it, not to feel like your videos have to be perfectly polished. People really resonate with authenticity, with relatability, and sometimes low effort content is what does the best. So just be genuine and authentic to yourself. Talk about what you're interested in, and don't focus on creating the most perfect video each time. Just get into the habit of creating the videos, and they are going to improve naturally over time. There are so many awesome reasons to start a YouTube channel. I honestly think it's one of the best things that you can do for yourself in the new year, even if you don't have a goal of growing a huge channel. That doesn't need to be your objective. There are other reasons why starting a channel can be a really great idea, no matter what you want to talk about or who you are, or even if you don't think that you're great in front of the camera. And I actually do have a video where I talk about 3 main reasons why I think starting a YouTube channel is a great idea. So definitely be sure to check that out next. But otherwise, I will see you soon with a brand new video. Bye!